Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Wednesday at noon, 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend with the other weekday broadcast replays. Today is February 7th, 2018. And now, the news at noon.
According to the Cortez Journal, a man was arrested Monday morning on domestic violence charges about 14 hours after police warned residents that an armed man presented a significant threat to residents in a Cortez neighborhood. Cortez Police Chief Roy Lane said Charles D. Head, age 45, of 812 Balsam Street, was arrested at 6 a.m. Monday while walking down the street. He said he was on his way to turn himself in. Head was arrested on charges of felony menacing, domestic violence, and harassment, according to Lane. During a county court appearance on Monday afternoon, Head was granted release from jail on a personal recognizance bond. A non-harassing contact protection order for his wife was issued. Head has no prior criminal record. Head's wife urged that the court grant the personal recognizance bond. She stated that she was not afraid of her husband, but that he needs counsel. As a condition of bond, Montezuma County Court Judge Jenny Lynn Lawrence required that Head turn over all guns and weapons to authorities before he could return home. According to court records, one of the guns in the home is an AR-15. Head also was required to sign up for a mental health evaluation and not use alcohol or illegal drugs. Head's next court date is for February 14th at 2 p.m. for filing of charges. Head's arrest and court appearance wrapped up a high-profile police action in Cortez that began Sunday afternoon.
Push to move public land managers out of D.C. and into the West garners new support, according to a report from the Journal. From its headquarters in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Bureau of Land Management oversees some of the nation's most prized natural resources. Vast expanses of public lands rich in oil, gas, coal, grazing for livestock, habitat for wildlife, hunting ranges, fishing streams, and hiking trails. But more than 99% of that land is in 12 western states, thousands of miles from the nation's capital. Some western politicians, both Republicans and Democrats, are asking why the Bureau's headquarters isn't in the West as well. You're dealing with an agency that basically has no business in Washington, D.C., said Colorado Republican Senator Cory Gardner, who introduced a bill to move the headquarters to any of those dozen states, including Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, or Wyoming. The Bureau of Land Management manages a combined 385,000 square miles in those states. Colorado Republican Representative Scott Tittum introduced a similar measure in the House, and 3 Democrats signed up as co-sponsors. Representative Kristen Sinema of Arizona, Jared Polis of Colorado, and Ed Perlmutter of Colorado. Some Westerners have long argued federal land managers should be close to the land they oversee, saying Washington doesn't understand the region. Now they have a powerful ally in Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke, a Montana man who is leading President Donald Trump's charge to roll back environmental regulations and encourage energy development on public land. Zinke said in September he wants to move much of the Interior's department decision-making to the West, including the Bureau of Land Management, which is part of the agency. The Washington Post reported last month Zinke's plan includes dividing his department's regions along river systems and other natural features instead of state borders and using them to restructure oversight. A big part of the Bureau's job is to lease drilling, mining, and grazing rights on public land to private companies and individuals. That puts it at the center of a heated national debate over how those lands should be managed and by whom. The Bureau manages more public lands than any other federal agency, ranging from about 1 square mile in Virginia to nearly 113,000 square miles in Alaska. That doesn't include national parks or national forests, which are managed by other agencies. It has about 9,000 employees, with fewer than 400 in Washington. The rest are scattered among 140 state, district, or field offices. The BLM oversees land in Colorado in the amount of 13,027 square miles, or 12.5% of those lands, while in Utah it is 35,658 square miles, or 42% of that state.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, FBI agents and police have searched a western Colorado funeral home, but officials declined to say why. KKCO-TV in Grand Junction reports agents removed documents and other items and inspected vehicles at Sunset Mesa Funeral directors in Montrose on Tuesday. Funeral home staff didn't immediately return a telephone message seeking comment. News video showed agents wearing jackets and t-shirts that said FBI and FBI Evidence Response Team at the business. FBI spokeswoman Amy Sanders says agents had a court-authorized search warrant, but she said no details would be released. She says no one was arrested. Montrose Police Commander Gene Lillard told the Associated Press the search began before 9 a.m. and ended at about 5:30 p.m. City officers assisted. Lillard says he can't comment on the reason for the search.
Social workers in training get hands-on experience here in the Four Corners, as reported by the Journal. Social work students must learn a variety of disciplines, public health, psychology, and law, to name a few. But learning empathy and how to respect cultures may be one of the most important lessons they can learn. To help students acquire those skills, Denver's Graduate School of Social Work in Durango offers a 10-day immersion course that allows students to work in Native American communities alongside professionals who can help them learn to respect and understand cultural traditions and social norms. Students shadow community health representatives working with Navajo patients near Window Rock, checking their health status, medicines, and food. The class is one of 3 offered as part of a master's degree program at the Four Corners Master of Social Work program to help prepare students to work on reservations by helping them understand Native American history and culture. While the need in some areas is pressing and change is slow, Nancy Lucero, who has a doctorate in social work and taught and developed courses for the program, advises young social workers to be realistic about what they can accomplish and to create a safe space for Native Americans to share their experiences. Listening to clients may not change their circumstances, but allowing them to share their stories helps. In some cases, social workers are associated with those who forcibly remove children from Native American homes, and changing that stigma is important, she said. In general, social workers fill many of the same roles in a tribal community as they would in other settings. They could work in hospitals, clinics, justice systems, mental health and substance abuse treatment programs, among other settings, Lucero said. The need for classes focused on Native American cultures was identified in the early 2000s, and they are now part of the draw for students, said Wanda Ellingson, director of the Four Corners Master of Social Work program. Quote, "We have students from across the country who are coming and visiting the program," she said. Classes are held in the Commons building on Camino del Rio. The program accepts 25 students every 2 years, and 150 students have graduated from the program. So far, 29% of the graduates are Native Americans who return to work in their communities. Native Americans are still feeling the effects of those older policies and the corresponding cultural loss, and in some ways, colonization is still occurring, she said. For example, when Native Americans live on large reservations and have access to food from only convenience stores, their situation is not terribly different from those Native Americans living on rations in the 1900s. While learning Native American history can be overwhelming for some students, it can also foster an interest in working with Native American tribes. The program in Durango prepares Native American students to fill social work roles in their home communities, but people of other cultures are also needed.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, drivers may want to think twice about warming up their cars unattended while they get ready for work inside the house. Opportunistic thieves look for this type of opportunity, as was the case early January 28th in Cortez when somebody stole a Chevy Suburban idling on Chestnut Street. A Montezuma County sheriff deputy spotted the vehicle later in the day and followed it into Dolores. The deputy observed 2 men exit the vehicle and walk away after parking at a gas station. Upon investigation, it was observed that the vehicle's license plates had been replaced with fake ones, according to the sheriff report, and several commercial containers of marijuana could be seen in the vehicle. After securing the vehicle, several sheriff deputies began a search for the men in a 4-block area on the west side of Dolores, with one deputy searching on foot carrying a rifle. A canine police dog also joined the search, as did an officer with the Colorado State Patrol and a Mancos marshal. The 2 suspects were not found, and the vehicle was impounded by Cortez police officers. It was searched, and evidence was turned over to the Colorado Bureau of Investigation for analysis. The vehicle was returned to the owner unharmed, and there are no suspects at this time, but the case remains under investigation. Lieutenant Andy Brock of the Cortez Police Department said it is illegal to idle a vehicle unattended with the keys in the ignition, sometimes referred to as puffing. And now, let's take a look at the weather.
The National Weather Outlook shown here courtesy NOAA and the National Weather Service with data input provided by Raytheon. A high-pressure system continues to move into the west and the central U.S., bringing calm, dry weather, while the low-pressure system adjusted north a bit into Canada, pushing the opportunities for rain and snow further across the northern states towards the upper Midwest. Another low-pressure front has dipped down along the Gulf Coast, bringing rains and storms throughout the deep south and all the way from Florida up to the mid-Atlantic region, with rain changing over to freezing rain and then snow as it heads north across the eastern coastline. Regionally, we do have a hazardous weather outlook for eastern Utah and western Colorado. Scattered snow showers can be expected across the Park, Gore, and Elk Head Mountains in northern Colorado. Spotty accumulations up to 4 inches will be possible by late tonight. Dry weather is expected elsewhere. Scattered snow showers are expected near the northern mountains in western Colorado Thursday, with dry weather anticipated elsewhere. The next chance for more widespread precipitation will arrive over the weekend, as we talked about yesterday. The DCTV 5-day outlook for our local area shows today sunny with a high near 47, northwest winds around 5 miles an hour. Tonight mostly clear with a low around 26, northeast winds around 5. Thursday sunny with a high near 54, northeast winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming northwest in the afternoon. Thursday night mostly clear with a low around 28, northeast winds around 5 miles an hour, becoming southeast after midnight. We certainly are in a windy turmoil here. Friday sunny with a high near 56, southeast winds 5 to 10, becoming west-southwest in the afternoon. Then Friday night partly cloudy with a low around 31. Saturday partly sunny with a high near 49 degrees. Saturday night mostly cloudy with a low around 24. Sunday mostly sunny with a high near 43. Sunday night partly cloudy with a low around 26. And Monday the National Weather Service shows partly sunny with a high near 46. Our local indicators say a 20% possibility of snow. And then Monday night mostly cloudy with a low around 27 degrees. And now back to the news.
According to the Cortez Journal, immigration enforcement in Colorado is much easier to understand and less micromanaged under President Trump, Denver's chief immigration officer said in a rare interview. Jeffrey Lynch, Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations, called morale high among local agents because they have more freedom than under the previous administration. This means no top-down dictates from Washington. Officers are given the power out in the field. Maybe somebody is worth arresting and putting into jail. Maybe somebody isn't worth it, based on their background, based on humanitarian factors, based on what our resources are, Lynch said. The officers like having that discretion. Removals have more than doubled in a year in Colorado and Wyoming, from 1,033 to 2,535. Through September of last fiscal year, the most recent numbers available. Arrests are up too, though not by as much, from 2,284 in 2016 to 2,746 through September 2017. Lawyers and advocates for immigrants say the landscape in the trenches has dramatically changed, and they have shifted their advice for anyone living in the United States without status. Cities are grappling with stepped-up immigration enforcement. The Denver City Council last August passed a law banning city employees from communicating with ICE. More recently, the mayor boycotted an invite to the White House after the Trump administration threatened to subpoena the police department over whether it is aiding immigration enforcement. The Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations noted he wouldn't treat someone who previously had DACA status differently than someone who didn't. But he said the rumors that immigration agents are doing checkups or roundups is inaccurate, and that criminals are still a priority.
You may be aware that the Olympics happens now every 2 years, alternating from the summer games to the winter ones. This year, the start of the Winter Olympics in South Korea may draw as much attention for the competitors as for the geopolitical nature of the neighboring countries and their participation. Reported in 9 News NBC in Denver, for the United States, Colorado is sending more Olympic athletes to the 2018 Winter Olympics than any other state. In total, Team USA has a record 242 athletes heading to Pyeongchang. There are 31 that are officially listed as currently residing in Colorado, according to Team USA. Headlining the impressive Colorado class is skier Michaela Schifrin, who will look to defend her gold medal title in the alpine slalom. Colorado natives Katie Eulander, skeleton, and Lindsey Vonn, alpine skiing, will both be competing in their 4th Olympic Games. We are also represented by various other skiing athletes, ice skating, luge and bobsled, ice hockey, triathlon, snowboarding, speed skating, cross-country skiing, and Nordic combined. Another 9 athletes either train here most of the year, attended college in Colorado, or lived here at some point in their life. Go online to 9news.com or search the net to meet all of our local Team USA representatives and find out when they are competing so you can cheer them on if you'd like. For our viewing audience that adores women's curling, Team USA is headed up by Wisconsin native skip Nina Roth, skip Corey Christensen from Wisconsin, the vice skip and a second out of Minnesota, and another second out of Wisconsin. They aren't expected to medal. The top team to watch is the Canadian women, but the Swedes also usually perform well. The 2018 Winter Olympics run from February 8th through the 25th in Pyeongchang, South Korea. You can catch all the coverage on your local NBC station. Curling is covered on CNBC, NBC Sports Network, and USA Network channels.
Reported by the Durango Herald, the government's report out Friday showed the flu season continued to intensify last week. 1 of every 14 visits to the doctors and clinics were for fever, cough, and other symptoms of the flu. That's the highest level since the swine flu pandemic in 2009. Last week, 42 states reported high patient traffic for the flu, up from 39. Hospital stays because of the flu has increased. Experts had thought this season might be bad, but its intensity has surprised most everyone. It's been the busiest I can remember for a long time, said Dr. Doug Olson, an ER doctor at Northside Hospital, Forsyth, in Cumming, Georgia. Another hospital in the Atlanta area this week set up a mobile ER outside to handle flu cases. The heavy flu season has also put a strain in places on some medical supplies, including IV bags and flu medicine. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention tally shows hospitalization rates surged to surpass the nasty season of the winter of 2014-15, when the vaccine was a poor match to the main bug. So far, however, deaths this season from the flu and flu-related pneumonia have lagged a little behind some recent bad seasons. There are as many as 56,000 deaths connected to the flu during a bad year. The flu usually peaks in February. This season had an early start, and health officials initially thought it would also have an early peak. But so far, it hasn't worked out that way. And there are some signs the flu season will continue to get worse.
So here's an odd type of agricultural-related article from naturalnews.com. A new, quote, recycling technology called biocremation liquefies the dead, then dumps their liquid remains into city sewers where solid and liquid waste are collected as biosludge to be dumped on food crops. Our apologies if you were eating lunch. Those crops in turn are fed back to humans as part of the mainstream food supply. In a shocking true story that's part Matrix, part Soylent Green, a company based in Smith Falls, Ontario has devised a, quote, biocremation system that it calls an eco-friendly alternative to flame-based cremation or casket burials, reported by Canada's CBC News. The company is called Hilton's Aqua Green Dispositions and touts its approach to dissolving dead bodies as, quote, eco-friendly alkaline hydrolysis. According to CBC News, dead bodies are liquefied with a process that blends water with an alkali solution. The company's website describes the body liquefaction process as follows. Biocremation creates a highly controlled and sophisticated environment that uniquely combines water, alkali, heat, and pressure. This process biochemically hydrolyzes the human body, leaving only bone fragments. During a typical biocremation cycle, the body is reduced, bone fragments are rinsed, and the remaining byproduct is a sterile fluid. There's no mention of handling the mercury and other toxic heavy metals that would survive such a process, of course. Those metals would obviously end up in the city sewer system. The company came under fire in 2016 when it was revealed the liquid byproduct is then drained into the town's sewage system, reported CBC News of Canada. As Natural News reported previously, cities across North America, including Toronto, already collect sewage into so-called biosolids or biosludge, which is trucked out of the city's sewage treatment center and dumped on food crops in rural areas. In effect, the practice of, quote, biocremation means that dead humans would be liquefied and fed to plants, which are then eaten by other humans. This process is almost militantly called recycling by proponents of biosludge and biocremation operations. A more accurate description of eating recycled dead people might be called remotely cannibalism. While from a scientific point of view, the idea of recycling nutrients of dead bodies back into food crops may not seem outlandish, from a humanitarian and dignity point of view, something seems incredibly inhumane and deceptive about calling it recycling. By the same logic, humans should also be eating their own recycled feces and calling it green living. Oh wait, a new technology developed for space travel will allow astronauts to achieve exactly that, eating their own feces, but that may be off topic. If the liquefied remains of the dead weren't dumped back on food crops to complete the cannibalism cycle, the practice of biocremation might not seem so horrifying. But even according to the same CBC News site that reports on biocremation, quote, of the biosolids produced across Canada each year, some estimates suggest that it's about 660,000 tons of dried material. About half is applied to land. The practice of spreading human manure on agricultural land is not without controversy, end quote. This gives a whole new meaning to the term human waste. But maybe the biosludge product will actually have less toxic waste than the biochemical pesticides and commercial soil amenities currently available today.
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of January 29th through February 4th. A community member called to report a possible theft. The case is being investigated. Dispatch received a report of a disabled vehicle. It was actually on Highway 160 by the state line. A deputy conducted a civil standby at a local residence. A deputy responded to a report of theft in the Rico area. The case is under investigation. That concludes today's roundup. Stay tuned for continued updates.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings. February 8th, 3 p.m. through the 11th at 6 p.m. It's Gina Abbey Creative Memory Scrapbooking Group's Retreat, hosted by Sophia Retreat and Event Center, 19581 Road 31 in Dolores. You can go on Facebook to see more about that event. February 10th, the Peking Acrobats perform at the Community Concert Hall at Fort Lewis College. The show is from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. For ticket info, go online to durangoconcerts.com. Called a modern-day kaleidoscope of entertainment and wonder, the Peking Acrobats defy the laws of gravity and leave audiences spellbound. Accompanied by an exotic live Chinese orchestra, the 26-member troupe of elite athletes, gymnasts, jugglers, cyclists, and tumblers perform the 2,000-year-old traditions with astounding grace and agility and offer a fast-paced, flawlessly choreographed show to mesmerize all ages. Also February 10th in Cortez, it's the 2018 kickoff doubleheader hosted by Colorado Mountain Classics race. New fees are $30 for open, $20 youth, time slots $10 per rider, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. processing fee of $10. Time only will be after the first and second race. For more details, visit Colorado Mountain, that's ColoradoMTClassic.com, or call them at 970-903-7447 to find out how this group is bringing back barrel racing to Southwest Colorado. They're on Facebook at Colorado MTN Classic. And all of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with a YouTube replay, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us. Email dcbnnews@gmail.com or call us at the station 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.